10 romance anime where she rejects him and regrets it later. What's up, anime lovers? Today we're diving into those heart-wrenching romance series where the girl says no first, then spends the rest of the show kicking herself for it. Grab your tissues. Kicking off with number 10, My Little Monster. Shizuku Mizutani is a great obsessed study machine who meets the wild delinquent Haru Yoshida, creating an unlikely romance filled with misunderstandings and personal growth. Okay, let me tell you something about My Little Monster. This anime had me throwing hands at my screen. Shizuku is basically that friend we all had in high school who lived and breathed textbooks, right? She meets Haru, who's basically a human hurricane with anger management issues, and she's like, nope, not today, Satan. But here's the thing that gets me every single time. Watching her slowly realize that maybe, just maybe, there's more to life than being the top student is so satisfying. The girl literally rejected genuine connection because she thought emotions were inefficient. Like, girl, what? The second-hand embarrassment when she finally figures out what she's missing is real. Plus, Haru's persistence without being creepy is chef's. It's absolutely perfect. The way their relationship develops feels so natural once she stops being emotionally constipated. Sliding to number 9, Masamune-kun's Revenge. Makabe Masamune was once fat and bullied by Aki Adagaki. Years later, he returns fit and handsome, plotting revenge, but genuine feelings complicate his carefully planned scheme. This one hits different because it's basically every revenge fantasy rolled into one anime, but with actual consequences. Masamune literally spent years transforming himself into this absolute unit just to break Aki's heart. And honestly, the dedication is both impressive and slightly concerning. But watching Aki, who initially rejected his childhood confession so brutally, slowly fall for this new version of him while having no clue it's the same guy she tormented, pure poetry. The irony is thicker than Masamune's plot armor. What really gets me, though, is how Aki's character development unfolds. She's not just the mean popular girl, there's actual depth there. When she starts showing vulnerability and you realize her rejection came from her own insecurities, you can't help but feel for her. The whole thing becomes this beautiful mess of miscommunication and buried feelings that had me rooting for both of them, even when Masamune was being petty. Landing on number 8, Plastic Memories. In a world where androids called Giftias live alongside humans, Tsukasa works retrieving expiring androids and falls for his partner Ila, who's approaching her own expiration date. Stop. Just stop right there. If you want to ugly cry for 3 days straight, this is your anime. Plastic Memories doesn't just show rejection and regret, it weaponizes them against your soul. Ila spends most of the series pushing Tsukasa away because she knows she's literally dying. And watching this poor guy try to love someone who won't let him is torture in the best way possible. The rejection here isn't cruel or petty, it's heartbreaking because you understand exactly why she's doing it. She's trying to protect him from the pain she knows is coming, but end up causing them both to suffer anyway. When she finally admits her feelings and they have that limited time together, every moment feels precious and devastating. This show taught me that sometimes the most loving thing someone can do is push you away, and sometimes the most selfish thing is letting them. I'm not crying, you're crying. Actually, we're all crying. It's a crying party and everyone's invited. Looking at number 7, Just Because. High school seniors navigate the complexities of graduation, college prep, and unresolved feelings as childhood friends reconnect and new relationships form in their final semester. Just Because is that quiet, contemplative anime that sneaks up on you with feels. It's not flashy or dramatic. It's just incredibly real in the way it portrays teenage relationships and the awkwardness of almost confessions. Ina's situation with Ada is so painfully relatable it hurts. She clearly has feelings but keeps hesitating, and when she finally works up the courage, life has already moved them in different directions. The realistic approach to high school romance is both refreshing and frustrating because it mirrors real life so perfectly. There's no dramatic declarations or grand gestures, just quiet moments, missed opportunities, and the slow realization that timing in love is everything. What kills me is how the show captures that specific feeling of being 17 and thinking you have all the time in the world, then suddenly graduation is tomorrow and you never said the things you meant to say. The regret feels so genuine because we've all been there, wondering, what if I had just been brave enough to speak up? Moving to number 6, Jitsu wa Watashi wa. Actually, I'm Asahi Kuromine, who can't keep secrets, discovers his crush, Yuko is a vampire, leading to a comedy of supernatural mishaps and romantic misunderstandings. This anime is pure chaotic energy, and I'm absolutely here for it. Asahi is literally the worst person to know supernatural secrets because he has the poker face of a glass window, and watching him try to keep Yuko's vampire identity secret is comedy gold. But beneath all the supernatural shenanigans, there's this really sweet story about acceptance and understanding. Yuko initially keeps her distance because she's convinced humans and vampires can't be together. Classic rejection based on we're too different logic. What I love about this series is how it takes that trope and turns it on its head by making their differences the very thing that brings them closer. The supporting cast is absolutely unhinged in the best way possible, and every character has their own ridiculous secret that somehow makes perfect sense in context. When Yuko finally stops pushing Asahi away and embraces their weird, wonderful relationship, it feels earned because they've both grown so much. Plus, the humor never stops, even during the emotional moments, which is exactly how real relationships work. Checking out number 5, Suzuka Yamato Akitsuki moves to Tokyo and falls for the talented high jumper Suzuka, but their relationship is complicated by past trauma and fear of vulnerability. Suzuka is that anime that makes you want to shake both main characters until they get their act together. The whole series is basically one long, drawn-out case of just communicate, please. Suzuka's initial rejection of Yamato isn't just about not liking him, it's wrapped up in her own trauma and fear of getting hurt again. Watching Yamato persist without being pushy while she works through her issues is actually really well done, even if it's frustrating as hell. The sports element adds another layer because you see Suzuka's dedication and drive, which makes her emotional walls more understandable. She's someone who's used to controlling every aspect of her life, so letting someone in feels impossibly scary. When she finally realizes what she's been pushing away, the regret is palpable. The series does a good job showing how past experiences can sabotage present happiness, and how sometimes the people we reject are the ones trying to help us heal. It's not perfect, but the emotional payoff when they finally get their timing right is worth the journey. Arriving at number 4, Golden Time. Banritada enters law school with amnesia from an accident, where he meets the dramatic Coco and kind Linda, forcing him to choose between past and present love. Golden Time is the college romance anime we didn't know we needed. Finally, characters who are actual adults dealing with adult problems. What a concept. The whole amnesia plot sounds ridiculous on paper, but the way it's handled creates this incredible tension between who Banri was and who he's becoming. Linda's rejection of his past self versus her feelings for his present self creates this complex emotional situation that goes way beyond typical romance drama. Coco, meanwhile, is absolutely unhinged in the most entertaining way possible, and watching her character development is incredible. The rejection and regret themes hit differently here, because it's not just about teenage feelings. There are real consequences and real adult decisions at stake. Linda's regret over not being honest about her feelings while Banri still remembered their past is genuinely heartbreaking. The series tackles heavy themes like identity, memory, and what makes us who we are, all while maintaining that classic romance anime feel. Plus, college setting means we get to see characters actually growing up and making life decisions, which is refreshing after so many high school settings. Stepping into number 3, Toradora. Ryuji Takasu and Taiga Aisaka, both with fearsome reputations but gentle hearts, agree to help each other pursue their respective crushes, only to find love where they least expected it. Toradora is the gold standard of rejecting the right person for the wrong reasons anime. The entire premise is built on Taiga and Ryuji being so focused on their unrequited crushes that they completely miss what's right in front of them. Taiga's tsundere act isn't just for show. She genuinely convinces herself she doesn't have feelings for Ryuji because she's terrified of vulnerability. Watching these two idiots help each other pursue other people while being absolutely perfect for each other is peak romantic irony. The Christmas episode alone should be required viewing for anyone studying emotional devastation in anime. When Taiga finally realizes she's been running from the best thing in her life, the regret is overwhelming, because we've watched 24 episodes of them being soulmates in denial. What makes this series special is how it earns every emotional beat. By the time they figure out their feelings, you're completely invested in their relationship. The supporting cast is fantastic too, and everyone's romantic subplot ties together beautifully. It's comfort food anime that happens to be emotionally devastating. Getting to number 2, Higehiro. After being rejected, I shaved and took in a high school runaway. After being rejected by his coworker, salaryman Yoshida encounters runaway high schooler Sayu, and provides her shelter without expecting anything in return, healing both their hearts. Higehiro tackles some really heavy themes while still being fundamentally about healing and human connection. Yoshida's rejection by Goto sets up the premise, but the real story is about how helping Sayu helps him process his own emotional wounds. The series handles the age gap and power dynamic issues surprisingly well, never romanticizing the inappropriate while still showing genuine care and growth. What's brilliant about Goto's character arc is how her initial rejection comes from her own fears about workplace relationships and vulnerability. When she realizes what kind of person Yoshida really is through his actions with Sayu, her regret feels authentic rather than convenient. The show demonstrates how rejection often says more about the rejector's fears than the person being rejected. Yoshida's kindness without expectation is so rare in anime and real life, and watching both Sayu and Goto respond to genuine goodness is incredibly moving. The resolution feels earned because everyone has grown as people, not just changed their minds about relationships. And finally, number 1, Ultramaniac Nina Sakura, a witch from the Magic Kingdom, befriends ordinary girl Ayu and tries to help her with romance using magic, but often creates more problems than solutions. Ultramaniac might seem like an odd choice for number 1, but hear me out. This series perfectly captures the chaos of teenage feelings and the disaster that happens when you try to force love with shortcuts. Nina's magical mishaps constantly interfere with natural romantic progression, leading to rejections and misunderstandings that could have been avoided. But that's exactly the point. The most genuine connections happen when the magic fails and characters have to rely on honest communication. Ayu's romantic journey is full of moments where timing, pride, and magical interference lead to missed opportunities and regret. What makes this series special is its lighthearted approach to serious themes about authenticity in relationships. The magical element serves as a perfect metaphor for all the ways we try to manufacture perfect romantic moments instead of just being ourselves. When characters finally connect without magical intervention, it feels more meaningful because they've learned that real love doesn't need special effects. Plus, the friendship between Nina and Ayu is absolutely precious and shows that sometimes the best relationships are the ones that support us through romantic chaos. And there you have it, 10 anime that prove rejection is just the beginning of the story. These series show us that sometimes the heart needs time to catch up with what the brain already knows. Which rejection regret story hit you hardest? Drop your thoughts below, and don't forget to subscribe for more anime deep dives.